And I feel like if this was Nunu, you know, a couple of seasons ago, she spoke about how she was casually on her period and so forth. Everybody was shocked. Everybody was like, you know, taken aback, taking the piss out of her. She got dragged for a while. But when this particular girl talked about hard sports and literally shitting on an individual, there's just silence. Like, it's just fine. Now, I'm not saying this is the reason, but if Nunu was a light-skinned girl and she has somebody lived down a period, like, would she have been dragged as much? I probably don't think so. It's just, these are the thoughts that come into my head sometimes. I'm thinking, you know, this type of subconscious conditioning that we're conditioned to, could that be the reason for why we think and act in certain ways? You know, she really just grasps the room with her honesty, and I commend her for it, and she's very transparent, there's no shame, she's very pro-sex, and I feel like we should not bash people for sex, whether you're a female or male. You should not be bashing them, period.
Water sports, it comes with all different types of things.
What I want to know,
I've done that, hard sports, water sports, I've done all of this. Hard sports is shitting on a man, water sports is pissing on a man.
So what I want to know is, what makes you...
I see the jobs that you lot are saying is
What I want to know is...
Hey guys, it's Marley. Hope you guys are doing well today. So Bkchat have decided to split the episodes. Obviously one half to, you know, about the chaotic drama and the narrative, which I feel like it was a very good episode, and the second half was obviously the debate. Now this debate, the question was, many female influencers use escort services to maintain their lifestyle. Is there anything wrong with it and so forth? And there was a lot of debate and issues about responsibilities and how, you know, I do feel like people who are influencers certainly do have some form of responsibility, but at the same time, they don't as well. And you can say the same for musicians, same for artists, same for anybody who just people gravitate towards too. For example, Lucas was saying that people do have a responsibility, but I feel like if the situation is turned upon them, and say if Lucas did something on his Instagram and everybody was saying, are you an influencer, you have young boys looking up to you, how dare you do X, Y, Z, he'll be thinking, why do I have this responsibility? So I feel like people need to put themselves in situations before they, you know, come through with a point, or you know, say that, for example, people have responsibilities, and really and truly, if you were put in that predicament, if you were put in that situation, and people were saying this to you, and you felt like it was unjust, would you still have the same point? I just feel like that's just an interesting perspective to have. Like, people's opinions will change so quickly in arguments and debates that I have found out when I debate with people and I place them in their situation and change the variables that can adapt to them, so that for that quick second they are in that situation, their opinions will change. Why? Because a person's opinion will change if it affects them. That was just food for thought. But I'm kind of glad that way Artilia just grabs the entire conversation with her sheer honesty, where she talks about financial domination and how she's done certain things, a lot of those that are taboo, and even her honesty is taboo, how she really just speaks about it. And I feel like if this was Nunu, you know, a couple of seasons ago, she spoke about how she was casually on her period and so forth. Everybody was shocked. Everybody was like, you know, taken aback, taking the piss out of her. She got dragged for a while. But when this particular girl talked about hard sports and literally shitting on an individual, there's just silence. Like, it's just fine. Now, I'm not saying this is the reason, but if Nunu was a light-skinned girl and she has somebody lived down a period, like, would she have been dragged as much? I probably don't think so. It's just, these are the thoughts that come into my head sometimes. I'm thinking, you know, this type of subconscious conditioning that we're conditioned to, could that be the reason for why we think and act in certain ways? You know, she really just grasps the room with her honesty, and I commend her for it, and she's very transparent, there's no shame, she's very pro-sex, and I feel like we should not bash people for sex, whether you're a female or male. You should not be bashing them, period. If that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. And I feel like there's nothing wrong with being an escort at all, nothing wrong with being a prostitute at all. And when I say this, I mean it in a way in terms of how we should not be bashing sex. I mean it in a way in terms how, you know, it's okay to talk about sex. It's okay to talk about, you know, I just find it hilarious that talking about sex and cultures can be taboo, but how are we here? Like, it doesn't, like, we're here through sex. I'm kind of glad that even Nunu was talking about it. It's like, let them be. We don't have to present every single part of ourselves as human beings online. Let them be. Obviously, I think the issue is not really being an escort. The issue for me is obviously presenting one side and pretending you're not, or one side and pretending that doesn't even exist, or low-key, like, you know, F escorts, F that world, F that, as if you're doing something but you're shaming them at the same time. You know, this oxymoronic kind of contradiction that you are creating, that in itself is the issue for me. Like, okay, you don't have to present everything that you're doing online, but if, you know, if people find out that you're this, or if you say you're this, and then, you know, it's funny because you've been shaming them their entire life, it's a bit of a like, what are you doing? I feel like Artilia grabbed this debate with her bare hands, and I'm glad that she did. I'm glad that she, you know, just exuded such confidence in what she was saying. You know, she talked about having a tough life, she needed money, she earned great money from it, she did all of this stuff. It was weird sometimes, but you know, and there was comfort in it. She did it with her cousin and so forth. Like, there was pure confidence. And Esther came down part of the conversation. And normally, I just find it funny how they drag Nunu, but no one's dragging her. Like, I'm not saying that she should be dragged, but at the same time, it's just contradictions that you know, none of us are perfect human beings. We all contradict each other at one point in our life. But I just find it funny. As viewers, as an audience, we can pick up on these things. Obviously, Mark was saying that we should be responsible as influencers, but I feel like as influencers or as anybody on Instagram, should you be responsible? Like, then they say, you know, oh, you know, people are getting surgery and so forth, they have little girls watching them. Your mothers and fathers should be watching the little girls first and before anybody else. They should be on job before anybody else. That's the first thing. Second thing is obviously far more access. So I feel like although influencers do have some form of responsibility, or they should be aware of it, they are doing this for themselves. That's what they decided to do. They get paid for some of this stuff. So it's also interesting because we have a lot of people, you know, putting out diet pills and so forth and sending out wrong message, and they have responsibility. So it really is a 50-50 situation where I feel like they do, but I feel like they don't have entire responsibility for somebody. Their parents, people around them should also cater and look after them as well. It's a combination of different elements, and I feel like that is just a perfect answer. It's an emblematic representation of different elements that help to exude somebody as an individual. It helps to create different responsibilities. You know, it isn't just one person who's responsible as an influencer. You've got the parents, you've got the siblings, people around you as well, and you yourself can be accountable. But obviously if you're not underage. Let me just dip this biscuit because no matter where I go in a live chat, or no matter where I'm traveling, I always gotta have my tea and biscuits. Let me just tell you that. But again, like, guys can also be escorts too. People don't really think about that as a situation. Guys are related to fraud, girls are related to escorts. That's just, you know, the stereotypes, the natural occurrences. But if I knew somebody, well, if I know people and they come to me, tell me, oh, you know, I do this stuff on Instagram, but behind the scenes I'm an escort and so forth, and I have no shame in it. Okay, so what? You're an escort. Do it with your chest if you want to. You don't have to. You're not entitled to. But if you do, that's fine. That doesn't mean that I'm better than you as a person because you find different means of words. You find different means of your income. Like, I feel like that's just a bit of a degrading perspective to have, to feel like, oh, I'm better than you because you are an escort, you're a prostitute and I'm not. Like, who are we to think that we're better than somebody else because they have a different means of income that's comfortable for them? As Riva said, as long as it's comfortable for you, you're safe, it's healthy, then do as you please. Who are we to continuously, you know, as naturally we humans judge, but who are we to feel superior, to feel better than you because you have a different form of income and work? Again, we're sex shaming, and it's just not cute. So I have no shame to anybody who's a prostitute escort. Do as you means. No, like, honestly, don't. I'm not better than you as a person. I'm most definitely not. Like, everybody has different means of incomes and ways, and if they're comfortable doing it, and it's not illegal, it's not fraud, you're not physically harming somebody, like, what is the issue? Like, I don't understand. I'm glad that Artelia grabbed this, and I'm glad that she does. You know, we do live in a misogynistic, patriarchal, racist society, and at the same time, I feel like she kind of just exuded confidence in situations that I feel like a lot of people won't have. It's definitely a taboo, and I'm glad that she came through, and I'm glad Nunu and Riva agree with their points as well. And, you know, I'm glad Lucas for his perspective of, you know, do we have responsibility along with Mark, because we do have, you know, it's great to have different perspectives coming at you, so you can obviously have more of a debate, and there can be have a lot more depth and substance. Chioma was quiet as a mouse throughout this entire debate. I don't know why. She looked like she wanted to be there. And obviously Esther came down halfway through, which I felt like was nice as well, so we get more. It's nice to have everybody involved, especially the main characters of the show. I really liked this entire debate episode. I feel like it was different, you know, it's a bit random, and, you know, but the reason why I like it is because of Artelia herself and how much she brought into the debate. Not really the debate question, but her as herself as an individual. A lot of people say that I always critique the show. Well, clearly right now I'm not, and I haven't a lot in the past either, so I don't know where that's coming from. Hit up on my Instagram, please, Morali, and definitely subscribe to this channel. Just click that button and subscribe. I would massively appreciate it. And definitely hit me up on my Instagram. Let me know what you guys think with this particular debate episode. Did you watch it? What did you guys think of it? And I will definitely catch you guys soon.